ready to roll this thing, baby?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, as we start today, this will date the recording, but the situation in Mexico has gotten, worse. It's escalated. And I mean, our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire country. It's just what a scary thing that's happening and just horrific thing. And obviously there's unsafe places all over the world, but right now that's the thing that's been escalating over the last few days now with the killing of, the cartel leader and now what's going on, between the Mexican military, the cartel, and then just civilians getting caught in the crossfire. And, obviously we have a lot of people here that are, and I would say it's down on the priority list, but, wondering about travel, right? Which is, but then there's people there that we, have heard that are obviously there that have gone on vacation, and, a lot of people stuck because the airport's being shut down and travel restricted. And so it's just it's a terrible thing. And man, heart's heavy, and just wanting to shout out everybody, man, just prayers for their nation, for our nation, for the world. I mean, good night. Whew. Yeah. Just come on, man. We need love. And people say, I hear a lot of people say, Jesus, come back, which yes, but it's like, man, Jesus, he's here in our hearts. So let's manifest the presence of Christ. Yeah. And live like he lived. And what would that mean? What would that mean if we started treating each other with respect, with dignity, with love, seeing other human beings as people to love and respect and care for? And we're somebody used the word, we're earthlings. This is not about nationality. It's, man, we're all on earth, and we are fellow human beings. And so man, my heart's heavy for where this whole thing is going. And praying for peace, praying for the Lord's presence to be manifest in us and our neighbors. And man, the stuff that we see every day on social media and how that's bred, obviously, hate and division, and just the lack of any kind of public decorum, civility, the lack of public respectful discourse, just having even good conversations. The way people, and I just watching too many meltdowns. Yeah, it's ugly. And the dangerous situation over there, scary situation, and it's just so sad. Very, very sad.
Yeah, and I think sometimes
what's underneath all that,
we just had our vision meeting because we pushed it back a day. And, as we're sitting there discussing and dreaming and just talking practically about where we each are personally in our home, some goals or things that we want to do, and then long haul marriage, just kind of discussing that and our vision for that, or what we're working on right now at this very minute. And so we spent time going over all that and praying together. And then, you kind of balance it with, man, what's going on in the world. You're thinking none of this means anything, but then you bounce back and you're like, wait, it actually does, because we still continue,
paramount. We've
got to continue to live and be the light and love each other and love our family and love our neighbor and
where we are, where we're planted. Yes.
So that's okay. Yeah. It's all just a constant perspective shift. Yes, I want to remember what's happening in all different parts of the world and have compassion and let it break my heart. But then how is that going to change how we live here, and not just shuck it all?
Well, you look outside, look where we live, look at the just good night, the blue skies, and this, anyway. Yeah, I could go. The first 10 minutes of our prayer was gratitude, just thankful for where we live and I mean what's going on right now outside of our home. I know the U.S. can be a scary place and a dangerous place, and there's, there's a lot of fear mongering out there, and could get worse and will get worse and all that, and it can get better and it will get better as well, like you said. And we have to just continue to shine, light into darkness. I mean, all of us, come on. Just love. That's love never fails, right? But yeah, good. That's perspective. Just be grateful. I mean, good night. If you're, not being shot at or bombed or burned down or, in a danger zone or war zone right now, just be thankful, be grateful, and be very mindful of that, and go love on people that love you, and keep your family close and your friends close, and just be grateful. Good night.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so I want to talk about two things today. So if you hear us start to talk about our first subject, we're going to get to some stuff later on, very specifically about marriage, and a show I watched, and I'll bring it up later. But and then some things that made me think about and wanted to talk about. So very specific about marriage and love and relationships and attraction and staying with people you love versus getting bored with them and thinking you're missing out on something better. So that's going to be later on. But first, I wanted to start. You've just come off your Evergreen retreat. And, if you follow us, you've seen Jamie post about that. But I wanted you to just hit some highlights about the Evergreen retreat.
Okay.
And it looked great. Obviously, the stuff I've heard is amazing. And people can see the pictures on social media. But I kind of want to hear from you what you felt God had birthed in you, and how your vision was, and how it came to fruition, and how you wanted it to be different than the other women's retreats that you've been a part of, or women's events that you've been a part of. How you just wanted it really to look and feel differently, and how that played out.
Okay.
Give me the highlights.
Wow. How long do I have? Do I have 2 hours? Just kidding. So I would say I think I looked back, and it's like 4 years ago, I was just praying about like something kind of welling up in me that, when you just feel something stirring in your spirit. And I felt like God was saying, hey, I have something I want to talk to you about today. And it was something for women. And at that time, the church where we were, how it was going to kind of take place was a night, a women's night. But as I sat there and just put myself in timeout, made myself be still and quiet, which is not easy for me. I have a busy brain and a busy body. And so sometimes you just get, that switch just gets flipped on, and you're just, a tornado just doing and being and, all the things. But in that moment, I felt like God was saying, just be still for a minute with me, because I've got some things I want to talk to you about birthing in you. I didn't understand what that meant at that time, but so I just knew that I needed to kind of be still. And so as I sat outside on our little couch, I just was still and just listened, and just one idea led to another. And so it started with this idea of the scripture of Jeremiah 17, where he talks about the two trees. And one is like, bleh, like burned up and like a tumbleweed in West Texas blowing around. Just
what was that? What was that sound effect?
Okay. So that should give you all you need to know about that. Just I don't want to be that tree. I don't want to be that person that's just fried and burned up and blows away and just there's no fruit, nothing to show for it.
Wow. Yeah.
So then goes into the second part of that verse is, but blessed is the one, or what I like to say, blessed is the woman, because I'm working with women here. Blessed is the woman who trusts in him, who is planted down by the stream, by the waters, and sends out its, her roots, and they grow deep, and she doesn't fear when famine comes or different storms come, because she's planted deep, and she will always bear fruit. So I was like, man, that scripture is really speaking to me. So I sat there and I just brain dumped in my journal, just different things that came to me. But I was like, that's the woman I want to be. And I have like every reason, just like most of us could say, like, here's the list of reasons why I can't be that. Like, well, if only this would have turned out different in my life. Well, if only I wasn't so ripped off with, grief and losing things or losing a business or whatever, like all these things that didn't go my way. I was dealt this, deck of cards. And so I guess I'm just screwed and I got to be that first tree. No, that is a possibility. That's an option for all of us to choose. And so what would that look like for me? Like, could I choose? Could I pick that one? And as I sat with that, you see what I'm saying? It just led from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking, what are some things that I do now or that I can add to kind of this recipe for a good life that's going to point me in the direction. Like that's my target right there. If I get to choose which tree, I want to pick that one. And so what's a target? What's the recipe that I can shoot, for that one? And just started trying to kind of build some of those things into my life.
It's a huge lesson in there too about aim. A lot of people, when you aim at something, you obviously, if you're not aiming, where are you going?
Aimless.
Right. And if you're not aiming at a target, you're not going to hit it, right? And to miss the mark is the Greek term for sin, right? And it's an archery term. So you just think about that in your life. Many times it's not this, heinous act that you do. Again, a lot of times it's stuff that was done to us that has missed the mark or made us miss the mark in our lives. But you have to get real specific and focus and think, what am I aiming at to be close to hitting any kind of target that you value? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So, just one thing led to another. And then I thought, okay, I'm seeing something being formed right in front of my very eyes. And so that was back in the day, that was like an evening that I did, with a bunch of women. And I mean, it was beautiful, but something in my heart said, you're not done with Evergreen, but more like Evergreen's not done with you. And so
the name Evergreen. Yeah.
So you're just going to be, it's just going to go on the back burner for now. I didn't even mention this. I didn't even tell the girls this weekend, but I totally forgot about this, but I have to save it for next time. But so after I was, praying about the tree and all this other stuff was, pun intended, coming to fruition, just was kind of being birth as I wrote it out on this page. I heard the name Evergreen and I'm like, I love that word. Like I know that word from like there's Evergreen, Colorado, and I know there's evergreen trees and whatever. And so, but I thought, man, I don't use that word on a daily basis for, obviously, but it became like a word that I could not let go of. It just, that was like, man, I love that word. And I'm really, I feel a connection to that word. And so then I'm talking about the day that happened. And then, like days, after, several different things popped up. And I know they say if you buy a Toyota minivan, all of a sudden everyone in the world drives a Toyota minivan. But this is a little bit more kind of
bias. Your brain sees
this is a little bit more specific. So one thing was I got an email for some reason and it told me about the Pantone Color of the Year by Sherwin-Williams. They pick a color of the year every year. And guess what it was? It was called Evergreen Fog. That happened the day that Evergreen
the phone read your mind. It does that,
I guess
right?
so, right.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah, so
you're feeding the algorithm. No, it's reading your mind now. Consciousness is out there.
Well, okay, but that's another podcast. Okay. Anyway, so Evergreen Fog was the thing of the year. Then I got an email about different concerts coming up or something. And what is the name of that group? There's a group that we like that sings a cappella.
This had nothing to do with you Googling the word Evergreen and trying to go.
No. Because this was like email that I got, which I mean, I guess they can probably schedule emails as well.
Gmail? You mean Gmail?
Maybe.
Sorry.
Okay. So Brian is poo-pooing on what God can do. Because tell me if this was my algorithm, this next one that I'm about to tell you.
Okay. So no, the group.
It's called Pentatonics, and they're
Christmas album?
Their Christmas tour, Christmas album or whatever was called Evergreen. And then I'm driving to work or whatever the next day. And I pull up and a truck, huge semi pulls up beside me. Evergreen. Now, don't tell me that's my algorithm unless that's the bots that are sending the trucks to drive beside me.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Huge truck beside me that says Evergreen that has this forest painted on it.
Wow.
Anyway, those were 3 of probably 4 or 5 different things that happened.
And you know what? Even if it was your brain that's now noticing because you have set your intention and you're paying attention to Evergreen now. And so you're noticing it more. What a great lesson in that.
Yeah.
How many things we miss because we're not focused on it.
Yeah. So anyway.
That's cool. Great sign.
Yeah.
God had birthed it. Now it's sending you all this confirmation.
Yeah. And so anyway, led that event that night, but wasn't done with Evergreen or Evergreen wasn't done with me. And so, as we started Long Haul Marriage, I had to table some stuff. You can only handle so many things at one time. Yeah. And so a lot of stuff just kind of got put up on a high shelf while we put all of our focus in starting Long Haul Marriage from the ground up. And so as we got all those systems going, thank you, Brian, and got, appointments humming, people, I had a little bandwidth. I had a little bit more time to go, okay, so now I feel like I'm missing something. And I realized I'm really missing spending time with women. I'll go to lunch with a friend, whatever. Okay. But with a group of women, there's so much power and so much synergy when you get women together, the connections that we make, it's remarkable. And I really miss that. So I began to pray about that. God, what does that mean? Why am I feeling that kind of ache in my heart? And, is that anything I'm supposed to?
And by the way, men need it too, but we don't do it.
Yeah.
But that's the way we've survived for millennia. That's the way we made it is in community. Just don't get me started. We're all so isolated. But I could see it's like you need to be with women.
Yeah. I was just really, I was missing that a lot. Yeah. And I feel like I have some giftings around that area that for a bit I just got to put to the side because there wasn't time.
As Danny said after this weekend, that is your jam. Yeah. You have a lot of giftings.
Thank you. So I, as I began to pray about it, then here comes this Evergreen just running over me like a Mack truck. Like, oh, remember me? I'm back. Yeah. And so I started to dream about what would it look like to do a women's retreat, an Evergreen women's retreat. And Evergreen's not just the name of the retreat, but Evergreen is it's a group. It's a gathering of women online and in person, not just retreats, but different things thrown out throughout the year to bring women together, to create these safe spaces for us to connect and relate together. And so that's where Evergreen Women's Retreat was born. I had a heart for I see it at an Airbnb. I don't see it at like a campsite, or I don't see it at like a normal retreat center or at a church building. I've been to hundreds of women's things through the years and have learned and grown so much through all of them. But I wanted it to be different because we could, you can, barely go a few steps and you can find a place where you can, a church where you can sign up for some kind of women's retreat or program, whatever. And I just wanted I wanted it to feel different. And so I thought, what if some of the things, the rhythms that I've built into my life, maybe that would connect with other women. So words like rhythm and flow and relaxed
space
and
quiet,
imperfect
silent.
And what I wonder if that could mean something to some women. So anyway, I had this thought of an Airbnb in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and just decided to run with it.
Did you look into Evergreen, Colorado?
I did not look into Evergreen, Colorado, but I could. I'm not against it.
Is there a city called Evergreen?
There is. No, there really is. Evergreen, Colorado. There truly is. anyway, about that same time as all that was like, getting stirred up in me, I met a new friend online that just reached out to me and said, "Hey, we need to talk." And she had some other ideas in mind, some ways that she wanted.
Danny.
Yep. Hey to Danny. Reached out and thought maybe I could help y'all with some stuff with long haul. Little did she know she was about to be pulled into the Evergreen experience. And then my good friend of a million years, Adrena Mabry, at the same time when she heard what we were doing, she was like, "Hey, I want to be a part of this." So anyway, we made it happen, and it was more than I ever envisioned and prayed for, because I think one of the reasons why it felt so right and so good was because when you dream about something or you envision it, you've already been in that room a million times, but you're kind of a little nervous. Like, what if this is just a pipe dream? Like, this isn't really something that's going to happen, or I envision it this way, but it really kind of turns out this way instead, or something. It just doesn't feel right.
But haven't most of your things turned out the way? I know what you mean. What you're describing, that happens to a lot of us. It seemed like almost every one you say, it went so well. It went really, really well.
I always have that insecurity, though.
Okay.
I don't care if I do a million.
That it just may not be, because you built it up in your mind and your heart to be so perfect.
Yeah.
And you want it to be. And so you're a little nervous. Will it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's
like, will it translate from my crazy brain? Will it translate? But here's the thing. It wasn't about my crazy brain. It was that quiet time spent with the Father, allowing him to speak over me. This is what I want to bring to some of my girls. And let's do it over and over and over again. Like, it's not finished.
And I watched the intense, preparation, the mental load that you carried, and emotionally getting ready, preparing, but then all the logistics, good night, just all that. And then having to postpone it, which everyone heard about because of the ice storm.
Yes.
But then it finally comes, and you're saying it was even like, oh my gosh, it just blew you away.
It blew me away.
It was better than you even dreamed.
Yes. So it happening was better than I could have ever envisioned or prayed. And one of the sweetest times for me was, one of the things we did was to go out on a nature walk. So like, we changed some of the wording of things. Instead of an agenda, I did a flow. Instead of a hike, we did a nature walk. There were just some things that we just changed up the wording a little bit to change the feel, to let the women know what they were signing up for. Okay. This isn't another thing where so I told him this is going to be more like yoga and less like CrossFit. Not anything to do with I love CrossFit. I think that you guys are amazing. But this was going to be a different kind of
chill, breathe, space
feel. Yeah. So one of the best things was we took an hour long nature walk, and it was pretty hilly. It was crazy. Ooh. The hills, because our Airbnb was at the top of this mountain, and so it looked like a roller coaster, like trying to get to it. It was. I was like, can my car even make it up this? But anyway,
they fixed the potholes.
Yeah. No. It wasn't too bad. Good. But anyway, so we go on this hour-long nature walk, and then I come back and I'm like, you know what? We gave about 2 hours that afternoon to do what restores you the most. And so you could do puzzles or do a coloring book, or, whatever, take a nap, do whatever, go to the hot tub, whatever. So what I did after the hike was, I'm like, you know what? I got about 4 hours of sleep last night. I'm going to go take a plenty and 20, which is that's like my 20-minute nap. And so I go back to my bedroom and close the door, and I lay down, set my timer, and I sleep for 19 minutes and 47 seconds. Like, I wake up and I'm like, I feel like I've been asleep for 20 minutes.
Why the 1947?
I don't know. That's just, I woke up and I looked at my timer.
Your brain, you set it for 20 and you woke up.
Yeah. Because I think I've trained my body to do that. Yeah, so now I'm like, blink, and there I am, almost right at 20. But anyway, right when my eyes opened, I'm like, that felt so good. And then I heard the door open in the other room, and all of these other girls. So I hiked with some girls for an hour. Some of these other maniacs hiked for like an hour and a half. So when they came back, I was just waking up. And so I hear the door open, and I mean, if it's not like a gaggle of geese coming in that room between them and then the people that stayed behind to do whatever whatever they wanted to do.
It, not me.
Well, it was or a bunch of chickens or I don't know what it sounded like, but it was laughter. It was talking on top of each other, just crazy, just, conversations happening and just giggling and laughing. And it was so just rambunctious in the other room. And I just smiled, the biggest smile. I teared up and I thought, cause I didn't have I was in my own room, so I wasn't watching what was happening. I only heard it, and it was like music to my ears. I teared up and I thought, this is what I have envisioned. This is what I'm talking about right here. And I wasn't even a part of that. Like I was closed off in my room, but that was happening. Like they made it happen. And it was women who didn't know each other from Adam before. A few knew each other, but some didn't know each other from Adam. It was just really, really sweet. And so I just watched that happen the whole weekend. I saw women over in a corner talking or playing dominoes or, praying with each other. They're over there crying together. I'm like, what are they crying about? I don't know. But one of them had their hand around the other one. I'm like, just go. Just God, you go. And you work in these women. You bring them together. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Yeah. So we have a Facebook group, a little community that we started where now that's like over 200 people who are on it. And so we just kind of keep the conversation going there. So it's not Evergreen Retreat. The retreats are just a part of a bigger Evergreen kind of women's community. So I kind of wanted to make that clear. So you can join the Evergreen, not you, Brian, but I think you already joined.
I think I joined.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you're hearing this, look for our Evergreen Women's, what's it called? Evergreen Women, I think is what it's called. Look for us on Facebook and follow along because we're going to have more. We are hoping our next retreat is going to be in June. Yeah. So we're trying to nail down a date for that. But also sooner than later, like in the next couple of weeks, I'm wanting to plan a vision board kind of workshop at our house, our home here, and would love anyone and everyone to come.
I've got an idea for your slogan. And when you have your podcast in the future, you can start out going, ew. It's EW, Evergreen Women.
Oh, ew. Okay. Ew. That's a horrible idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I loved you and Carson's idea yesterday when y'all were talking about because the girls there were like, we want something like this for our husbands. Would Brian do something like this for our husbands? And so I was like, I don't know. Pray about it and I'll talk to Brian. But when you and Carson were talking about that y'all's name could be Nevergreen. That's horrible. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So that's components of that's our my retreat. Story.
Yeah. Cigars, whiskey, and poker.
There we go.
Be a great men's event.
It would.
Reach out to me.
I think they would love it.
So that, babe, just watching how that fuels you and just seeing you come home when you're tired and you went from a 47% sleep score on your mood ring to like 96% readiness score.
So good.
So you crashed out, but just watching the spring in your step and just that almost like there's a deep sense in you of like knowing and calm, just like I knew God was going to do this, and you're reconnected to something. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember this girl. I remember this feeling. Hey.
Yep.
Just a reconnection to your gifting, to the importance and significance of women connecting, of hearts connecting. And again, I mean, we joke, of course men need it. We definitely need it. We just don't do it. And it's hard for men to do that. And of course, women are better at it and they're just more natural. Men, we'll connect, but we don't want to be, talk about crying in a corner and having your hand on it. We want to be having a line in the water looking out over a lake.
That's right. And that's what it can look like,
but yeah, it for sure can.
Yeah. I love women so much, and I have such a heart for women and everything that we bring to this world and to our families.
From them already, seeing some of the feedback and hearing the feedback and knowing it's come, there's going to be another one coming, and I won't steal your thunder there, but just looking forward to what that Evergreen community becomes, even if you don't use ew.
Yeah,
But yeah, EW, that's cool.
No, it's not cool at all.
With the time, how much time we got left?
Whatever you think.
So let's run a few minutes, just 10 or 15 minutes more at the most. Let's try to wrap this. But I wanted to talk about, this was something that I just thought, I want to just touch on this. And there was, so recently, I was all caught up on the Olympics, and I don't know which streaming service I was on, because if you're like me, you run through 3 or 4 streaming services and you just look through the menus for like an hour, then you turn it off and go to bed, because like you've been searching menus, and there was always, it's FOMO. You just wait, there could be a better one or another one, and I don't want to lock in and watch that. But on one of the services, like the second movie in the little suggestions for you or whatever was a picture of Sarah Snook. And I love that actress. She's in, All Her Fault and Succession. Great actress. And it was called Soulmate. And I thought, And it turns out she's just in one episode. It's a very, I would say, a Black Mirror-esque type of show where they're all just separate episodes.
Okay.
And I ended up watching the first one and then maybe part of the second, and I'm like, man, I'm done. But so the idea was on Soulmate, the whole idea is like, picture futuristic, and again, it was, I think, back in 2020, maybe it was only into the future till 2023. I can't remember if that's it or not. But anyway, just with the technology we have, think dating services online, just to the nth degree with technology. And it's a test that started blowing up in the culture that you could take that matches you with the perfect soulmate. So you go in, you give this place whatever, that they need, your biologics, and they match you with the person on earth that is your, quote, soulmate. And so there's the people who like, man, I ain't taking that. And the people who are scared of it or don't want to take it or have the moral judgment against it, especially. And the whole thing, the tension is this Sarah Snook, and I don't want to do spoilers, and you may not even want to go watch it, but it's one of her neighbors and friends is telling her she's taken the test and she's gotten matched. And she's like, dude, you're married. Like, what are you doing? And she goes, I thought you'd be supportive. And like, I feel like you're judging me. She goes, yeah, I kind of am judging you, And it's like, have you ever not just wondered if you've missed out? And we got married young, and my husband, he's just, and it wasn't this horrible, abusive, we just don't connect, and we're just, we've fallen out of love. We've drifted apart, just that whole thing. And so, and it shows, you could see where the producers of the show would write it in where Sarah's husband, Sarah Snook, the character she plays, like he's a donk or he's not a great husband, but it's actually great marriage. They've got a couple of kids. He's a good dad. There's no real problems in there. I mean, but she starts, now that the seed's planted, that there could be someone better out there. There could be someone more perfectly matched. And the things that she sees, basically these people that have been paired with their soulmates, now she's just looking around and they're all on their honeymoon phase, basically. All this affection and PDA and just all over each other, and just seem like the googly eyes and listening to each other. And, again, all the good stuff, right? And you could just see it's eating away at her. And she's trying to block it out, and she's trying to avoid just even letting her mind go there. And again, gets angry about it but deep down, you see the tension. It's just starting to wear on her. And what if? And then she starts noticing things in her marriage that she wouldn't have noticed. Like, man, he's not paying attention, or he's more busy at work, or man, he's just not, why is he not attracted to me? And you start to see her test that out, and it gets in her head. Well, then she goes, and you watch her go to get the test, right? And you think she's done it. Well, she comes back and the kids are gone, and it looks like she's going to have the talk with her husband about, hey, I've met my soulmate, or I've talked to him and found him and blah, blah, blah. Well, she sits down to have the talk, and she says that she went to do it, and he kind of gets mad. I can't believe you. What are you talking about? And she says, no, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I just thought, what am I doing? And I didn't follow through with it. Well, then he admits he did, because she had been so distant, and he felt like he felt like she was pulling away. Well, so, and then imagine that they end up, she goes her way, he goes his way, and now he's remarried, and she's going, it shows the scene where she's going to visit the kids, and she sees his soulmate. She answers the door, and they are cordial and all that. Well, then at the end, it's just this thing when you saw their marriage and you saw how their happy life, and now all of a sudden, he traded it in for door number 2. And at the end, he walks out, and he's just looking at her kind of, longingly, and says, man, I miss you. And it's just this, and at the end, she drives away with the kids. It's just this sad ending. And of course, they both are full of regret, right? And you can kind of tell the shines off the penny, right? The newness with the soulmate has worn off.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about, it's a disturbing show. And you could say, well, Brian, why are you disturbed? Well, some would say, and that's what they're trying to point out, is that we don't want to admit that we all have these secret longings in us for something better, quote unquote. But what I want to submit is it's tempting us around that nerve that says, I want something newer. It's all about the novelty. And when we think, familiarity breeds what? Contempt. But it also breeds intimacy, and it breeds time spent with someone. And like that old, it's like just the old, whatever you want to say, that we fit like a glove, or the old shoe, or whatever. It's, what have we gone through together? All the things that we have gone through, and those wars that we fought, and that we made it through. And now when I look at you, it's not this novelty. It's not the fresh. It's the exciting. It's the man, you're a stud. Look what you put up with. Look what we did together. Look what we accomplished. Look at these kids we've raised. But I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about the foolishness of novelty. Now, I'll give the show this. Instead of, it all happily ever after, it showed the train wreck. It showed the novelty wearing off and the regret that they had. But then it goes on. I saw, like I said, maybe part of another episode, and it's disturbing to its core, because what I see is people making the mistake of thinking that they could get someone or something better because of what they have, quote, settled for, or I was young and stupid, or he'll never get me what I need, and emotionally we're just not connected. And instead of working on it, and instead of valuing, again, the tread being worn off the tires, right?
Yeah.
We want the new and the shiny. So it's the novelty. That's what it is that we are all attracted to, but not being smart enough and wise enough to know, guess what? That will wear off too. Right? And so that novelty is what people are attracted to. It's like, wow, that could be so fresh and exciting. So I guess what I wanted to throw to you is, again, we watch it all the time. People are trading in that new, or the old worn out shoe for the brand spanking new, fresh, exciting, shiny thing. So it's not just that the novelty will wear off. I mean, that's obvious, but people don't get that. That, trust me, there will become a time where the honeymoon period's over and the shine's off the penny and it's not new anymore. But I guess I wanted to throw to you, what are the things that we have done that you feel like you do to, when it is familiarity breeds contempt? And it's like you're not exciting. It's not the fantasy of what it could be, or am I missing out? What do you do to pour into and to keep the romance, to keep the excitement, to keep the novelty? What do you do? And what would you say to people who think, hey, there could be a soulmate out there and you missed it and you should go find it? I know we've talked about soulmates are not found, they're made and all that. But kind of go on.
I'll go back first and say, I don't remember when this was, but I would say there was probably a time about maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and we've been married 36 years. So I remember probably 20, 25 years ago, having that feeling of, as a woman, being, we'd been married for, whatever, 10 years, 15 years, all during that period of having kids. And you're just in this like, oh my word, like life is busy. It's crazy. It's moving at just kind of an unsustainable pace at times. And as a woman who had at that point birthed, who knows, at least 2 kids, probably 3 kids, close to 4 kids. I mean, all during that time period, you're already questioning. I mean, your body does not look like the same body as when you were first married. Things are shifting. And then also you're just tired a lot of the time. And I'm just speaking as a woman. I'm sure as a man, you could be, you could say the same things from your perspective. But I do remember a time where I really got, because I haven't really ever in our marriage just felt like super like insecure, or like, I'm afraid Brian's going to have eyes for someone else, or I don't live in that place. But I remember around that time period, and especially as we were just, having kid after kid after kid, and we were just kind of 2 ships passing in the night at some points, and me feeling a little bit less than about my body or about myself, or getting older, whatever. And feeling like, I wonder if like I'm seen as kind of like the Model T, like and not even like a cool, restored, beautiful old vintage car, like we want long haul marriage to be seen, but like an old broken down car on blocks. Like I felt like, what if Brian sees me like that? Like I'm just this old yucky car that's like, back behind the house or in the garage. And what if he would want to trade me in for like a newer, faster, sleeker model, And, I mean, thank God I don't live with that, but I do know women, that do live with that. And I guarantee you there's not a woman who can't say at some point, if you have been in a long-term marriage, if you've been in marriage for a really long time, that hasn't ever thought that thought. And thank God you always were reassuring and loving. And I knew that you were in it for the long haul. I knew you weren't looking for the next new shiny thing. You didn't really ever give me that, that thought or that idea or that worry. But I think it's just natural to feel like, is he going to want to? And like, it just, my insecurity, I kind of put onto you. So I understand that viewpoint from women, but I feel like, there was a time where, gosh, we just gritted our teeth, and I don't even know how we got through some seasons. Sometimes you just don't have it in you to think, how can I make everything better? But I think when at different times we would wake up to it and think, man, you know what? I want to make this new again. Like, we can never go back to who we were when we were like 22 and 24 getting married, but how can we make it new and fresh all the time? So if we're reading a book on marriage, or if we're going to marriage counseling, or if we focus on, let's do a date night a week and like think about that, get excited, dress up for it, whatever. That hasn't always been the reality in our marriage, but I think the times where we find ourselves lulled into kind of this, we're both just same old, one of us kind of wakes up and says, hey, you know what? Let's do something different, and shakes it up. And so I don't know. I think just kind of being aware, even when we tell people that we meet with that are 19 and 20 and about to get married, like, if you're in it for the long haul, it is normal for you to one day look up and go, who are we? What are we doing? And, I know you don't look at me now as a 58-year-old woman and go, wow, she looks just like she did at 22. I'm not that same person anymore. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, you change. Hopefully you grow up, you're not that same person. So it's learning to, using your quote, learning to love the person that you are married to and it really just can get better and better. Why do you
use my quote? I missed that part.
Learning to love the person with whom you're, remember, like, when you enter marriage.
The primary problem, Stanley Harwas in Resident Aliens.
I didn't mean to do that quote.
And I guess there's so much good stuff in everything you said. I don't want to say whether you're a Christian or not, or believe in, monogamy, right? Mm-hmm. There's this, that there's not the natural maybe way of that things go, or the temptations that can come. I'm not going to, so what was disturbing, by the way, was not that first episode. It was what I saw coming in another episode, where it's just what's disturbing is the way our culture is trying to subtly come in and prey on, and I don't know if I said hit the nerve, but prey on what is the normal temptations to think we may have missed out, or someone could be better for us, or man, when we're bored that we didn't find our soulmate, that there's that someone else. I mean, they got into, it's just swinging multiple partners, and hey, this is just normal. This is just the normal biology of things, and the monogamy is just, that's not even natural. And how they're trying to normalize all these options and just be who you are. And it's so, what's disturbing to me is I'm watching that destroy marriages. Yes, it's so foolish. So the word that keeps coming up, I know it's not old. You're a fool. You're a fool if you don't think that novelty is going to, and I keep going back to that newness, that fantasy, that honeymoon will wear off. And so you go, well, has it worn off in your marriage after 36 years? It tries to. It does. And so we have to combat that. And wisdom says, okay, when the newness shines off the penny, how do you choose love? How do you choose to be curious? How do you choose to be romantic, right? How do you choose to spice things back up in your life instead of looking elsewhere? Because guess what? Yes. Elsewhere, not only, I keep saying the shines off the penny or the news is going to wear off, you're going to have to forgive something too. All that crap, their crap's going to come out.
Right.
All the stuff that you don't see in your, biologically perfect soulmate. It's literally a choice. Love is an action. It's a choice. It's a decision. And so, my fire, some people, again, the show is trying to say, when you kick against this, that's your own, your little moral and your anger, your outrage. Well, I'm not saying I'm outraged and all that, but they say that's your internal, you just don't want to admit it, that's your deal. The disturbing part is that our culture is falling for it, and marriages are being blown up because of the foolishness in thinking that you have made a mistake and that your quote soulmate could be out there. And and now they're serving it up on this shiny show, right? And I'm like, please do not plant this seed in the minds of these impressionable young people who've already seen that marriage can be a train wreck, and that, you should just follow your truth and follow your heart. But again, I will give the show's producers this. At least the first one, I felt like, even though they divorced and went with their own ways, it actually showed the regret, And of course, in my world, I would have loved to seen them know that they made a mistake and we're going to get back together. But they left it very Black Mirror-y, open. But I wanted to just talk for a few minutes. After seeing that, I thought, you know what? Wow. This is a trap. It is, hear me, it's a trap. And
Be careful.
Now look, and you talked about, the trope is the older man trading in his wife for a younger woman, blah, blah, blah. And, getting the sports car, midlife crisis. But the woman is, my husband is too into work, or he doesn't communicate. He doesn't listen to me. He's not curious about me. And man, this other person, he just makes me feel so seen and heard. And, the fantasies are there on the other side as well. Right. And instead of saying, I'm going to go and I'm going to fight for my marriage, have that conversation, instead of just thinking, wow, I guess this is just it. I guess we've just drifted apart. And yes, I can hear some men, but a lot of women saying, well, what do? I felt that way, and I've gone to my husband, but he doesn't care, or he's not doing anything about it. Well, that's where long haul marriage can come in. We can help you with that. But I would just, if nothing else, just hear me. If you think that you have made a mistake and there is a quote soulmate out there for you that would be a better match, you're a fool. If you just think that that's as simple as that, I'm just gonna. Yeah, sorry. That is hear me. Could it be like? Has every person on earth thought that? Yes. Are you normal? Yes. No. Are you crazy? No. But if you act on that, that would be one of the most foolish things you could do to act on that. And so someone needs to hear that today.
Yeah, that's good.
Someone needs to hear that today.
Yeah.
All right.
So you don't need to watch the show because Brian already told you the whole whole thing.
Or just go watch the first one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's good, babe.
But yeah, there it is. Soulmate. I'm choosing, as we went to that conference, the XO marriage conference was so-called soulmates. And it would say their whole deal was soulmates are not found, they are made. And so you remake your soulmate every single day. You make a choice to love them.
Yeah.
And I will say this, when I think of the young, novel, new, it's so exciting. And look, we have so much to talk about, and the chemistry and the passion or the fireworks or whatever it is. And then I think about what you and I have gone through. And I mean, some of the dark nights of the soul and the tragic losses, and our most tragic loss of Corbin. Yeah. And when I think of the wars that we have fought and the band of brothers that you and I are now, coming back from those common wars that we fought.
Who else do you want beside you?
I just the respect I have, the value, just like, man, what a freaking stud.
Yeah.
And so that's built over a lifetime.
Yes.
And now obviously the kids and now the grandkids, and to throw away that legacy. Again, I watch them. I'm like, what are y'all doing now? Like what's going to happen at graduation time? What's going to happen at Christmas? What's going to happen when those kids are getting married? How many front row aisles are you going to have for the different family iterations? And again, I get it. Some people have gone through that and it's broken your heart, and you do anything to have it. And that's, again, marriage takes two. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're struggling with that, again, very natural temptation to think, man, is this it? And have I made a mistake because you may have drifted apart? Well, hey, guess what? You can drift back together.
Yeah.
You need to look at things differently, and don't think that that perfect person's out there. It would just be a temporary little fix, and then you'd realize, crap, what have I thrown away for this temporary little feeling of being seen and heard and feeling like I met the perfect one again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, babe.
All right. Well, let's call it for today. Sorry if I went on too long on that. And
no,
I take it back
babe.
if somebody felt like I called them a fool. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, baby. Hey, love you.
Okay.
You're my soulmate.
And so we say...
Oh, yeah. What? Oh, yeah.
What rhymes with alligator? Oh.
You know what? Thank you. Because I can never remember, because I think of bye. Let's see.
It's not a good one. We should change the ending.
No, I really like it.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah. Do you wanna let's see, eat an early dinner tonight? Or since we had a late lunch, do you want to do it
gonna be
a little later?